I never thought I'd find proof of how invisible I was to my own family, but there it was, spread across my grandmother's attic floor. Decades of family memories that I was never part of. My hands trembled as I flipped through the leather-bound photo album I discovered while helping Grandma Eleanor clean out her storage space. My name is Jordan, and I've spent 18 years trying to convince myself that my cerebral palsy wasn't the reason my family kept me in the shadows. But the evidence was right there in glossy 4x6 prints: family vacations, holiday gatherings, school events, hundreds of photos spanning years. And I wasn't in a single one. Jordan, did you find those Christmas decorations I asked for? Grandma Eleanor's voice carried up the stairs. I quickly wiped my eyes.
Not yet, Grandma.
Still looking. My voice cracked despite my best efforts. The stairs creaked as she made her way up. I heard her pause in the doorway behind me. "Oh, sweetheart," she said softly, noticing the album in my lap. "I didn't know Linda kept those up here." "Did you know?" I asked, not turning around. "Did you know Mom was editing me out?" Grandma Eleanor lowered herself beside me with a sigh. "Your mother has always been obsessed with appearances. But that doesn't make it right." She reached for my hand. "Those albums tell her story, not yours." I pulled away, anger bubbling up inside me. "Then where's my story? Where are my memories?" "Right here," Grandma said, reaching into her cardigan pocket. She pulled out her phone and showed me her photo gallery, hundreds of pictures of me throughout the years. Me painting in art class.
Me at my writing desk.
Me laughing with my sister Chloe before she started avoiding me too. "I've kept every moment," Grandma said. "Because you, Jordan Everly, are worth remembering." I stared at the phone, then back at the album. Two very different versions of the same family history. One where I didn't exist, and one where I was loved. The contrast made my chest ache. "I think," I said slowly, "I need to borrow this album." Grandma studied my face. "What are you planning?" I closed the album with a sharp snap. "Mom's 20th wedding anniversary party is next month. She's been working on this big family retrospective video." I managed a smile that felt more like baring teeth. "I think it's time to add some missing pieces to her perfect family picture, don't you?" Grandma didn't answer right away. But I saw the gleam in her eyes, and I knew I had an ally in whatever came next. The weekly family dinner felt different now that I knew the truth. I sat at our oversized dining table, pushing food around my plate while Mom entertained our visiting aunt and uncle with stories about Chloe's latest dance recital. The photo album from Grandma's attic felt like it was burning a hole in my backpack, propped against my chair. "Jordan barely touches her food these days," Mom said, her voice dripping with practiced concern. "We're worried about her appetite, aren't we, Greg?" Dad mumbled something non-committal into his wine glass. Classic Dad, always finding the bottom of his glass more interesting than family conflict. "I eat fine at Grandma's," I said, meeting Mom's eyes. "Maybe it's just the atmosphere here." Aunt Sarah shifted uncomfortably in her chair. "Linda, those new family portraits in the hallway are lovely. When did you have them done?" "Last month," Mom beamed. "The photographer was amazing. He really captured our best angles." I gripped my fork tighter. Another family photo session I hadn't known about. Another memory I'd been excluded from. "Jordan couldn't make it that day," Mom added smoothly. "She wasn't feeling well." "I wasn't invited," I corrected, my voice steady despite my racing heart. Just like I wasn't invited to the beach trip last summer, or Chloe's dance showcase, or… "Jordan." Mom's tone carried a warning. "This isn't the time." Chloe, who'd been silent throughout dinner, suddenly stood up. "I'm not hungry anymore." "Sit down," Mom snapped, then immediately softened her voice. "Sweetheart, we haven't had dessert yet." I watched my sister hesitate, caught between Mom's command and her own discomfort. We used to be close, Chloe and I. Now she could barely look at me. "Actually," I said, reaching for my backpack, "I have something for dessert." I pulled out the photo album. "Mom, remember this?" The color drained from her face. "Where did you get that?" "Grandma's attic. Interesting collection. 15 years of family memories, and somehow I'm not in a single one." I opened it to a random page. Look, Uncle Rob, here's that fishing trip from 5 years ago. Funny. I remember being there, but somehow I'm not in any of these pictures. Jordan, that's enough. Dad finally spoke up, but his voice trembled. No, it's not enough. I pushed back from the table, my chair scraping loudly. It's never been enough, has it? Having a daughter who doesn't fit your perfect family portrait. The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's carefully constructed facade cracked just enough to show real fear in her eyes. Not fear of losing me, I realized, but fear of losing control of her narrative. I think, Aunt Sarah said quietly, we should probably go. I watched them leave, noting how carefully they avoided looking at me. In the aftermath, Mom turned to me with steel in her eyes. We need to talk about your behavior, she said. I smiled, feeling strangely calm. Yes, we do. But not just mine. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I'd only come downstairs for water after another sleepless night, but my parents' voices carried from Dad's study. I froze in the hallway, my hand gripping the wall for balance. Your mother can't keep bailing us out, Linda, Dad said, his voice strained. The business is failing, and these medical bills. Don't you dare blame this on Jordan's treatments, Mom snapped. If you just listened to me years ago about the care facility. The floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet. Care facility? My throat closed up as Dad's response came through the door. We've been through this. Eleanor would have cut us off completely. And now we're dependent on her anyway. Something crashed, probably one of Mom's stress-induced cleaning sprees. Do you know what it's like, Greg? Having everyone whisper about us? About her? Linda. The Hendersons' daughter just got engaged. Their Christmas cards are perfect. Their family videos don't need editing. They don't have to. Her voice cracked. They don't have to explain anything to anyone. I backed away from the door, my legs shaking. The water glass slipped from my hand, shattering on the hardwood floor.
De studiedeur flew open.
Jordan. Dad's face went pale. How long have you been? Long enough. I looked past him to Mom, who stood frozen by Dad's desk. A care facility? Really? You weren't supposed to hear that. Mom stepped forward, reaching for me. We were just what? Shopping around for somewhere to hide your imperfect daughter. The words burned coming out. Is that why you keep erasing me from everything? Practice for when you finally get rid of me completely. That's not fair, Dad protested weakly. Fair. I laughed, and it sounded strange even to my ears. Was it fair when you let Mom cut me out of Chloe's life? When you stood there taking family photos without me? When you... My voice broke. When you let her make me invisible? Mom's face hardened. Everything I've done has been to protect this family. I am this family. The force of my shout surprised even me. Or I was supposed to be. I turned away, carefully stepping over the broken glass. My cerebral palsy made my movements awkward, but for once I didn't care how it looked. Jordan, wait, Dad called after me. For what? I stopped but didn't turn around. For you to finally stand up to her? For Mom to decide I'm worth being seen? I took a shaky breath. I'm done waiting. And I'm done being your dirty, little secret. I headed for the stairs, already reaching for my phone to call Grandma Eleanor. Behind me, I heard Mom's sharp intake of breath, followed by Dad's quiet. What have we done? What they'd done was give me clarity. And a purpose. If they wanted a perfect family story so badly, I'd give them one they'd never forget. Grandma Eleanor's art studio had always been my sanctuary, but today the smell of oil paints and turpentine made my stomach turn. I stared at the blank canvas in front of me, my hand trembling around the brush. You're holding back, Grandma said from behind her own easel. The canvas can take whatever you need to say, Jordan. I dipped my brush in red paint, then hesitated. What if I don't like what comes out? Then you paint over it. That's the beauty of art. Nothing's permanent unless you choose it to be. Unlike family, I thought bitterly. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Dad. I'd been staying at Grandma's for 3 days now, ignoring their calls and texts. Each one made me feel both powerful and sick. Your mother called me this morning, Grandma said casually, cleaning her brush. She's quite concerned about the anniversary party preparations. My brush slashed across the canvas, leaving a jagged red line. Let me guess, she wants you to talk me out of ruining her perfect celebration? Actually, she wanted to know if you'd be willing to say a few words at the reception about family bonds and forgiveness. The brush clattered from my hand. She wants me to pretend everything's fine? After what I heard them say, I think, Grandma said carefully, she wants to control the narrative. As usual. I looked at my canvas. The red slash looked like an open wound. Did you know about the care facility they wanted to send me to? Grandma's silence was answer enough. When she finally spoke, her voice was thick. Why do you think I made sure they were always financially dependent on me? The revelation hit me like a physical blow. All these years, Grandma hadn't just been supporting us. She'd been protecting me, buying my place in the family with her money. A knock at the studio door made us both jump. Chloe stood there, looking small and uncertain. Mom's going crazy about the party, she said. She's hired a videographer to do this whole family history thing, and she stopped, seeing my expression. You're not in any of the footage she picked. Of course not. I grabbed another brush, this time choosing black paint. I could. Chloe hesitated. I could accidentally delete it all. The video files. It would be too late to remake it before the party. I turned to really look at my sister for the first time in months. There was something different in her eyes, a spark of rebellion, maybe. Or recognition. No, I said, turning back to my canvas. Let her make her perfect video. I've got something better planned. Jordan. Grandma's warning tone carried a hint of worry. Revenge isn't always the answer. I started painting again, this time with purpose. This isn't about revenge anymore, Grandma. It's about being seen. Really seen. Even if it hurts. The country club buzzed with preparation for tomorrow's anniversary party. I watched from the shadows as Mom directed the decorating crew, micromanaging every detail of her perfect celebration. The USB drive in my pocket felt heavy, loaded with 18 years of truth she never wanted anyone to see. Jordan. Dad's voice startled me. I didn't expect to see you here. Just checking the venue, I said, keeping my voice neutral. Making sure there's wheelchair access to the stage. His face fell. About that, your mother thinks it might be better if you sit with Grandma Eleanor during the presentations. The lighting near the stage isn't ideal for hiding me? I finished for him. That's not what Miss Everly? The videographer approached with his laptop. I've got the final cut of the family tribute ready for review. Mom materialized beside us, her smile brittle. Perfect timing. Jordan was just leaving. Actually, I said, I'd love to see it. The 3-minute video played like a fairy tale. Mom and Dad's courtship, their wedding, Chloe's birth and childhood. Perfectly curated moments showing the perfect family. I watched Mom's face as it played, saw the satisfaction in her eyes at this carefully constructed lie. It's beautiful, the videographer said. Really captures the family's journey. Almost. I pulled out my USB drive. But you're missing some footage. Mom's hand clamped around my wrist. Jordan, don't. Why not? Afraid everyone will see the real journey. I turned to the videographer. I have some home videos you might want to add. Like the time Mom made me hide in the bathroom during the Christmas card photos. Or when she told the school not to include me in the yearbook because the camera flash might trigger me. That's enough. Mom's voice cracked like a whip. No, it's not enough. I yanked my arm free. Tomorrow, everyone's going to see the truth. Every deleted photo, every hidden moment, every time you tried to erase me. I was protecting you, she hissed. You were protecting yourself. Dad stepped between us. Maybe we should discuss this privately. No more private discussions, I said. No more hiding. Tomorrow, everyone sees everything. If you do this, Mom's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper, you'll destroy this family. I looked at her perfectly composed face, her manicured hands, her desperate eyes.
No, Mom.
You already did that. I'm just developing the pictures. I left them standing there, the USB drive still in my pocket. Tomorrow would change everything, and for the first time since finding that photo album, I felt something beyond anger or hurt. I felt powerful. Behind me, I heard Mom's sharp intake of breath, followed by her quiet words to Dad. Call Eleanor. Now. But even Grandma couldn't stop what was coming. Some pictures needed to be seen, no matter how ugly the truth they revealed. The anniversary party video played on the giant screen, showing Mom and Dad's perfect life in perfect focus. I stood at the back of the ballroom, my USB drive already plugged into the AV system, waiting for my moment. Grandma Eleanor's hand found mine in the darkness. "Are you sure about this?" she whispered. Before I could answer, Mom's voice carried through the speakers. "Family means everything to us." My finger hovered over the laptop's enter key. One press and 18 years of carefully hidden truth would replace her lies. The raw footage would show every moment she'd tried to erase, every family photo I'd been excluded from, every event I'd been hidden away from, every time she'd pretended I didn't exist. Then Chloe appeared on screen, younger and smiling, her arm around empty air where I should have been. The photo had been edited to remove me, but they'd left my shadow on the ground. I pressed enter. The screen flickered, but nothing changed. I pressed it again. Nothing. Looking for this? Mom's voice came from behind me. She held up a USB drive, my USB drive. "The videographer found it this morning. Gave it to me right away." The room felt like it was spinning. "How did you?" "I've spent 18 years protecting this family's image," she said quietly. "Did you really think I wouldn't protect it now?" The video continued playing, showing more perfect moments I'd never been part of. Guests murmured appreciatively at all the right places. "You can't keep erasing me," I said, my voice shaking. "I won't let you." "Jordan." Dad appeared beside Mom, his face pleading. "Can't we discuss this privately? For once, think about what you're doing to your mother." "What I'm doing to her." The words came out as a laugh that sounded more like a sob. Grandma Eleanor stepped forward. "Linda, enough. You can't." "Actually, Mother, I can." Mom's smile was razor sharp. "Jordan, if you say one word, one single word, to anyone here about our private family matters, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly why you're really angry. About the care facility applications you found. About how we wanted what was best for you, but you were too selfish to see it." The room swam before my eyes. She'd taken my truth and twisted it into another perfect lie. "Face it, sweetheart," she said softly. "No one will believe your version over mine. They never have." I looked around the room, at the guests laughing and celebrating, at Dad avoiding my eyes, at Chloe watching from across the room with tears streaming down her face. Mom was right. In her perfectly curated world, there was no room for my messy truth. I'd thought exposing her lies would set me free, but she'd turned even that into another prison. "Excuse me," I managed to say. "I need some air." I wheeled toward the exit, leaving behind the sound of my mother's triumph playing in high definition on the giant screen. I made it halfway across the country club's garden before Grandma Eleanor's voice stopped me. "Jordan, wait." She wasn't alone. The sharp click of Mom's heels followed close behind. "Let her run," Mom said. "It's what she does best." I turned my wheelchair around. "Like you ran from having a disabled daughter?" "That's enough." Grandma Eleanor's voice cut through the night air. "Linda, you've controlled this narrative long enough." She pulled an envelope from her purse. I was going to wait until after the party, but clearly that time has passed. Mom's perfectly composed face faltered. "Mother, what are you doing?" "Showing everyone the truth, starting with my will." Grandma opened the envelope. "I'm leaving everything to Jordan." The silence that followed felt like glass about to shatter. "You can't do that," Mom whispered. "I already have." Grandma's voice was steel. "Maybe now you'll understand what it feels like to be erased." "This isn't fair." The words burst from behind us. Chloe stood there, tears streaming down her face. "You're all lying. All of you." "Chloe," I started. "No." She stepped forward. "You think Mom's the only one who erases people? What about me? Did you ever think about what it was like being the other daughter? The one who had to be perfect because you couldn't be?" Her words hit like physical blows. In my quest for visibility, had I made my sister invisible too? I had to be everything you couldn't, Chloe continued, her voice breaking. Mom's perfect daughter, Dad's athletic star, everyone's ideal child. Do you know what that's like? I do, I said quietly. Better than anyone. Something shifted in Chloe's expression. For the first time in years, I saw my sister, really saw her. Mom moved between us. This is ridiculous. Mother, you can't possibly. Actually, Dad's voice came from the darkness. He stepped into the light, holding my USB drive. I think it's time we all saw everything. He looked at Mom. No more editing. No more perfect pictures. Just our family, all of it. Mom's facade cracked completely. Greg, please. I'm done being afraid, he said. Of losing money, of losing face, of losing control. Look what it's cost us. He handed me the USB drive. Jordan, it's your choice. Whatever you want to show, we'll all watch it. Together. I looked at the drive in my hand, then at my family, Mom's crumbling mask, Dad's quiet resolution, Chloe's tear-stained face, Grandma's determined support. No, I said, surprising myself. I don't need everyone to see the past anymore. I need them to see me now. All of me. And if they can't. I looked at Mom. That's their loss, not mine. The truth didn't need a screen. It was right here, in the broken pieces of our family, finally exposed to the light. 6 months later, I sat in Grandma Eleanor's studio, surrounded by my paintings for my first gallery showing. Each canvas told a story, not of erasure or revenge, but of becoming visible on my own terms. The critics are going to love these, Grandma said, adjusting one of the frames. Especially that one. She pointed to my centerpiece, a family portrait unlike any mom would have approved of. It showed all of us, including my wheelchair, but with transparent layers revealing the shadows and light within each person. Even Mom's figure held a complex beauty in its brokenness. Jordan. Chloe's voice came from the doorway. She'd started visiting every weekend, slowly rebuilding what we'd lost. Dad's here too. He wanted to see before the opening. Dad stepped in, looking smaller somehow without Mom's influence shadowing him. They'd separated 3 months ago, not because of me, but because of all the truths that came after that night at the country club. These are... He cleared his throat. These are extraordinary. Thanks, I said, meaning it. How's Mom? Working on herself. Finally. He managed a sad smile. Her therapist thinks it might be good if you two talked, whenever you're ready. I nodded, not committing either way. Some healing needed time, and some wounds needed distance to close. Oh, before I forget, Chloe pulled an envelope from her bag. Mom asked me to give you this. She said it's up to you whether you open it. Inside was a single photograph, one I'd never seen before. Me as a baby, Mom holding me with an expression of pure, unguarded love. Before fear and appearances poisoned everything. I found it in her bedside drawer, Dad said quietly. She kept it all these years. I wheeled over to my easel and picked up a brush. The canvas was blank, waiting. What are you going to paint? Grandma asked. Something new, I said, mixing colors on my palette.
Something real.
The gallery would open tomorrow, full of people who would see me exactly as I was. Not hidden, not edited, not erased. Just Jordan, telling her story through art and truth and the complicated beauty of an imperfect family. I started painting, adding the first strokes of what would become a different kind of family portrait, one that showed not just who we were, but who we might become. In the background, I heard Chloe talking with Dad about her dance recital, Grandma Eleanor discussing the gallery opening, and the quiet space where Mom's voice might someday fit again. The future wasn't perfect, but it was visible. And sometimes, that's enough of a masterpiece.